You are watching episode 4 of the Insurance Podcast. Hi everybody, welcome to episode 4 of the Insurance Podcast, the podcast where we talk all things insurance. You may have heard that intro just then. That was a song, if you're an 80s baby like me, that was a song from 1991. Let me know in the comments if you know who it is. I think it's a pretty easy guess, but yeah, great song. Like I said, welcome back, episode 4. We're well ripping through these. If it's the first time that you've tuned into the podcast, welcome. It's an insurance-based podcast, interest-based, to discuss topics, conversations, all things that are related to the insurance industry in Australia and abroad. My name is Brad Dawson. Today I wanted to talk about one topic in particular, but before we get into that topic, and it's a bit of a controversial one, I wanted to ask if you guys could kindly help out and subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video if you like it. It doesn't go for very long, so you don't have to wait too long to get through the end of it. Our social media, if you could follow along in our social media, that'd be much appreciated. Instagram is at The Insurance Podcast, just up here. Facebook is The Insurance Podcast Australia. YouTube, if you just search for The Insurance Podcast. And if you're a SoundCloud user, you'll find us at soundcloud.com/The Insurance Podcast. Your support is appreciated, so thank you so much. How was everyone's weekend? I hope it was good. Mine was good. I just got back from the mid-north coast of New South Wales, down from Maxville, where our race team is based. We just got done building 3 Demolition Derby cars for the annual Maxville show. Down there on the mid-north coast, south of Coffs Harbour. The Maxville Show Demo Derby Smash Up, they have it every year. If you wanted to watch in again on those shenanigans, we did take some photos of building the cars, but if you want to watch the crash and bang of the annual derby, it's pretty good, pretty fun in the middle of the showground there. Otherwise, you can tune in and look at it at the Maxville Show's Instagram page. I imagine they'll be putting something up of it. It's at Maxville Show. Watch the shenanigans as it all unfolds. I think that's Saturday or Sunday, probably Saturday night this coming, I think. The podcast will be up this week, so it's early, I think it's perhaps the 4th of May, it's all happening. So tune in, have a look and watch that, it'll be a bit of fun. Like I mentioned a few episodes back, it's not that easy to get back into the swing of things in the insurance world, coming out of Easter and the school holidays and the roads are full and people are rushing to get back to their families, get back to work. Insurance staff and underwriters and claims people are taking some well-earned insurance holidays away from insurance, that is. They're trying to get away from, just enjoy their holidays really with their families, their kids. It's, I guess, coming off the back of that December to February sort of big claims season. Hopefully it's behind us for this year at least. People are taking advantage of the additional days they can squeeze in to not use too much of their annual leave. So it's great that they're taking in their holidays. It keeps everybody happy and everyone's work ethic good, and so it's a great idea, we think. So we're just getting all organised coming up into June. June's a busy time of year in anything to do with finance or insurance. If you're in any of those industries, you'll know that it gets ramped up. Accountants, financial planners, insurance brokers, anyone that's trying to do their tax, making sure it's all sorted. Their accountants are tuning them up, telling them to spend this, or you got a tax problem here, or buy a new car here, or whatever the scenario is. So everyone's rushing to get everything organised, organising insurance for their car, or they might have to do something with their superannuation fund. So it's a bit of a busy time at the moment for anybody in the financial services industry. What I wanted to discuss today was just a follow-on and industry update from the Townsville Storms and the impacts that the insurance industry is having to date on that particular scenario and those claims that are awful up north above the 26th parallel. It doesn't matter if you're an insurer, a broker, assessor, loss adjuster, builder, geo expert, any of those repairers that are up there working frantically to meet their obligations and to assist with, I think, 27,000 claims that just came from those February events up there in northern Queensland. Apparently the total claims bill estimate to date has reached 1.3 billion Aussie dollars. Apparently there's still some 19,000 claims that are still open and unfinished and still ongoing. Apparently something like 200,000 claims have been officially declined or denied from the insurer or from whatever party it be that's declining the claims. Another 250 have been sent to internal dispute resolutions that go just inside the insurance company still, and then another 285 on top of that have gone to external dispute resolutions. So whatever government body or association is in charge of whichever scenario that might be a part of. No doubt you would have seen it. It's awful. The TV media recently reported some of the affected homes and business owners. They're sort of battling with the insurers for their claims to be accepted. It could be a combination of claims turnaround times, availability of local tradespeople, but most probably some of those claim scenarios simply being excluded or perhaps sublimited because of the conditions under the policy or the cover limits. Insurancenews.com.au reported in a recent online article. I'll leave a link to it down below so that you can see it quite easily, like I do with all the references that I use. Apparently a spokesperson from the Insurance Council of Australia, that gentleman's name's Campbell Fuller, says the recent case study doesn't necessarily reflect the true situation. As of last week, 230 million's already been paid out for repairs, services, temporary accommodation, including like replaced or lost or damaged items have already been paid out. So 230 million. So the insurance industry has come to the board there, which is great. David Keane from a company that is called solvemyclaim.com.au has reported that he's currently holding regular meetings in Townsville with unhappy insureds, which are obviously unhappy with their progress of their claim or the insurer's response or whatever it might be. He's reported to insurancenews.com.au in that same article that he's currently helping 70 different insureds and providing assistance in the claims department, or advice at least, to hundreds more. So he's obviously getting inundated with people being in that area that are unhappy and need some additional help, whether they don't have a broker or advisor or they're unhappy with the direct insurer's response. They're going to that company, Solve My Claim, David Keane. So he's obviously a busy fella as this is all happening. The difficulty that I think we can look at from an external perspective, looking into the poor people that are up there that are going through all this, is that in some instances with insurers, in some cases providing an insurance policy in a certain area where the other insurers aren't even issuing policies above the 26th parallel, which is a measurement that the insurers use to sort of dictate where more likely to have claims at a certain part of Australia or not. Basically far north Queensland is above the 26th parallel. So what I'm trying to say is that there's some insurers that are providing cover there, and some insurers that just flat out will not, whether it's their underwriting guidelines or whatever it might be. They're just not issuing covers up there or not organising policies for any clients up in that area. They simply just won't do policies there. So to consider all the parties here, the sort of different scenarios are that the property owner or the insured, once they purchase insurance, the insured owns a property or purchases a property. They wish to protect their property. The best way to, in some cases, do that is via insurance. They approach the insurance market, they answer some questions, whether it's directly with an insurer or a broker or advisor or some sort of intermediary or party. They provided a quote, including the relevant product disclosure statement and documents and what have you, what financial services guide and what's released to them in accordance with that intermediary's responsibilities. And they pay the premium, and usually the cover will begin upon both parties have executed both of their responsibilities in accordance with their purchasing of that product. In an event like the recent events in Townsville, the client would sometimes call their insurer, obviously, to lodge a claim. The insured advises that the area is inundated with water or consistent with rising water from a normal water course, and the insurer advises that the policy excludes flood. And in some cases, the claim is then declined or sublimited, whatever the policy conditions would be of that particular policy. And again, it comes down to reading the disclosure documents. The difficulty with this is that it's to sort of establish whose responsibility is it to ensure that the policy doesn't exclude certain events. Is it up to the insurer? Is it up to the insured or the owner of the property? There's obviously two parties to the contract, so we need to establish who's at fault. Again, this is my interest, and it's something that I wanted to explore a little deeper, just because some people are a bit confused. And this isn't necessarily to try and find a solution to it, it's just to discuss it so we can get the ball rolling about talking about potentially who or how we can better structure things to make sure that the insurers are comfortable with the thing they're insuring, and the insured, the owner of the property, is comfortable and happy with the product that they've purchased to adequately cover their assets. So is the insurer at fault? Let's talk about that side of the coin first. The insurer is legislated to provide certain disclosure documents to the insured. This includes policy conditions, exclusions, what have you. Have they done this? If they've done it correctly, if they've disclosed everything, are they at fault, even though certain events are maybe not covered in the policy? Like I said, the other side of the coin is the insured, so the owner of the property. Have they read and understood the policy contract, the PDS, before they've accepted the policy? Have they read and understood everything to do with their side of the policy contract? Have they answered all the insurer's questions adequately and accurately before basically paying the premium and accepting the cover? The frustration here often rears its head when you have the insured knows that the insurance company is a business. It's a business that makes money and have to pay their investors, and obviously have to remain profitable so they can continue to function. What doesn't help the case is that sometimes a person that's purchasing a policy, otherwise known as the insured, has just renewed their policy with the same insurer over and over and over again when it comes in the mail. They don't necessarily read their requirements or what's required of them to renew the contract and renew their policy, not just paying the premium on time, to make sure that it covers them and that their claim isn't excluded should something happen. They need to know what they're covered for. The frustrating and the difficult thing here is that there's two very strong opinions on this. I mean, I've worked both for an insurance company and not for an insurance company. The people that work at these companies, the underwriters, the claims people, they're just like you and me. They're good people, they do their job, they have families, they have kids, they play sports, they love cricket, they watch the footy finals, they love the Ashes, who doesn't? And they just want to say yes to all the claims that come across their desk, and just say, yes, of course it's going to be covered, we want to make sure it's all sorted. But because of the business contract that they've entered into, and they're obviously being paid by the insurance company to represent them accurately, the underwriting guidelines and the conditions of the policy, and obviously their investors at the end of it all, need to make sure that the insurers are paying claims that are as responsible and as per their policy contract. If they start paying claims that are outside of that, they start creating a lot of grey areas and say, well, you paid this person's claim, but you didn't pay mine. You paid mine, why didn't you pay this person's claim? It's the same scenario. They're next door, they're across the road, their business was this happened in the last storm. So it's a bit frustrating from an insured's perspective, because they get sort of mixed messages and mixed stories. All I can sort of add to what I've just stated is that it's always best to speak to your insurance representative before these claims happen. I mean, the best idea is just to get in front of it before it happens. If you live in an area that you think or has ever had any huge storms or floods, or even not, I mean, there's changing of temperatures and weathers all over the world right now, which we're going to cover a bit more lengthy in my next podcast, which will be episode 5. That obviously things are changing, the environment's changing, the weather events are changing, things are happening earlier and dragging out longer, days are staying hotter. So whether you have or haven't had a flood or a huge storm or some sort of impact or incident in your area in recent years, or in your lifetime or your parents' lifetime, doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to happen. It's always best to talk to someone that's going to guide you in the right way before these events happen. People don't think it's going to happen to them. I'm sure we've all been in some sort of prank or crash in your car that's ruined your day. Maybe someone you know got injured, maybe someone your loved ones got hurt or killed. It's awful, and it happens. If it hasn't happened to you, it's happened to someone near you. You know, you're sitting at the traffic lights, the light's gone amber, you're slowing down and bang, someone's hit you from behind. It happens every day, and you don't know what's going to happen to you. It's a similar situation with storms, except it's just as much of an accident, but we really can't control it because it's the weather system. So insurance, whilst it's a business, it can be exceptionally helpful to protect you, your business, or your assets. Please don't take your insurance policy for granted. Don't assume that it's going to cover everything. Talk to someone that can give you the right advice. Go through the internet, Google your local insurance broker or advisor, talk to your insurer about it, make sure you both 100% understand the policy that you're trying to get. You understand that this is what the policy is, and the insurer understands this is what you own and this is what you want to insure, and making sure that both parties meet well in the centre and both understand their obligations under their contract. If you'd like to leave any comments or have anything to add to what I've mentioned today in the podcast about the northern Queensland, the north coast of Queensland storms and their claims, you're welcome to leave a comment down below on YouTube or SoundCloud, wherever you're listening to it. If you'd like to email us, you can email us at theinsurancepodcast@outlook.com. Like I said, our social media, you can follow us at Instagram at The Insurance Podcast. Facebook is at The Insurance Podcast Australia, and YouTube, you're probably watching it now, listening to it now, is The Insurance Podcast. So thanks again for your support. This was episode 4 of The Insurance Podcast. Any questions or comments, please let us know, and I'll put a comment below with all of the links that we've used in our topics today. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a top week. Be safe and take care. Thanks so much. Cheers. Bye.